Hi. In today's daily lead code challenge, the question is insert interval. So here we are given with an array of non-overlapping intervals where interval I is a start I and end I represent the start and end decade of ith interval. And intervals is sorted in ascending order by a start I. So you are also given with an interval, new interval with a start and end that represent the start and end of the another interval. So we have to insert this new interval into the interval such that the intervals is still sorted in ascending order by a start I and intervals still doesn't have any overlapping intervals. So we have to merge the merge the intervals and still we have to still we have to make sure the initial condition that all of the intervals are sorted by the value of a start index and also none of them are overlapping with each other. If they are overlapping with each other, we will merge them. So we have to return the intervals after the insertion. So if you look closely into the first example 1369 and new interval is 2 comma 5, so we can insert this by following and we can do this by following examples. So i have uh, I have made a pictorial presentation of this question, so let's look into it. So in this question we are representing the available intervals by this block and the two insert interval by this line with two dotted at the end. So in the example number one, we are given with 1369 and we have to insert 2 comma 5. So here we can see that this is clearly an merging. So it is not passing to this value. So we don't have to merge. So look closely into the condition where we don't have to merge this new inserting interval to the old interval which are available to us. So here the end of the two insertable interval is less than the start of the next interval. So we have to merge this interval only 1 to 5 and then we will add this interval to our last answer interval. So we are there with 1 comma 5 and 6 comma 9. And in the second example we can see that we have to merge this 4 comma 8. So in the pictorial representation you can see that this point is been touching by uh, the interval 8 comma 10. That's why it's got merged and the combined entity and the combined interval is 3 comma 10. So our answer would be this. So we have to find whether any whether any interval is merging or not, and we have to find whether condition for the intervals are merging or not. So in that scenario the two possible of non-merging scenarios are here, in which the ending index of the to insert interval is less than the starting point of the interval, and also in the second example we can see that the starting of the new interval is greater than the ending of the interval which is been forehead from it. So in this first example, what we have to do is we have to insert and interval. Both of the intervals should be our answer, and both of them will be inserted into our answer. And to insert will be null. That will help us to go forward and inserting all of the intervals, rest of the intervals accordingly. And if it is the condition number two, we will insert the interval and check for further intervals whether they are overlapping or not, and then we will insert them into the answer accordingly. So let's try to code it in Java. As the answer size of answer is not confirmed, so I am taking this list here. That's why we will add the intervals accordingly whenever we found them. And in last I will convert this into int 2d int, and then we'll return this. So let's try the rest of the logic. what I have done is that whenever I find a interval which starting point is greater than the last interval, so I will add both of the intervals according to the case 2 here. And then if I find any interval which is like ending point of any interval is less than the new interval, I will add that interval, as the merging is not possible there. And rest of the condition I have added the merging condition, like I will add them into my new interval and go accordingly. If the new interval is at the last of the intervals, so that would not be null after completing all the intervals, so we also have to look into this condition, and I have written that list as hint and pass that to the solution. So let's try to run it. So all the test cases are passing. Let's try to submit this code. So we have to put this condition first, because whenever any new interval is null, so we have to check this accordingly. So I think we have to push this condition first from this condition. So let's do that. Let's try to run it and also use this test case as our input. So that test case is also passing, as we have handled that null condition. So let's try to submit it. So it got accepted. So this is the solution for today's daily Leetcode challenge. I hope you got my solution, and thank you for watching.